The Ralph Steadman, I believe. Oh, am I a little freezy?
Yeah, a little glitchy. You're a little glitchy.
Maybe we close some things. I got Photoshop open.
Either you're glitching or the jugs are kicking in, Andy. I can't really tell. But yeah,
you know what? You know what the issue might be, Drew?
What's that?
Might be the fact that we're in bat country.
We're in bat country. Oh yeah, we're very much in bat country. No question. Andy and I, of course, celebrating Halloween as is our tradition. Do we have to talk about this game? Do we have to? Have you been watching this?
Yeah, I have an over, which, I mean, through the first quarter, the live over was just sitting right there with the pregame. It was kind of rolling. Although poor Badgent has thrown 2 touchdown passes already. He was not touched. Like, he probably could have got up. And then fucking Velus Jones falling down. And like,
what a turd.
If you fall down and it's like, oh no, I can't reach it, or oh, it's above my head, it still hit him in the gut. Like, catch the ball, guy. You're a punt returner. You should know what you're doing here. So,
I love it.
A little annoying.
I think your over is probably in good shape. Do you have a opinion on the side or total here as we look at the halftime numbers?
No, I was Brad in the Discord was talking about a second half under, and I'm like, if the Bears' next drive looks as bad as some of these other ones, it's like, you kind of got to think about it. And I'm still not very much enamored by the play calling from Getsy. A lot of second and long runs. I know they want to get this run going. It's something they're good at. It's a tough team to run against. I mean, they're having some success, which is, good, especially considering you're on your third and fourth running backs. But yeah, it's not a good one to maybe just keep pounding the rock on. Especially, you got DJ Moore out there. Your tight ends are kind of finding it. Like, Badgett threw a really lazy softball for that. Yeah. That was a bad interception. But that deep shot, the deep shot to Velus, the touchdown, these were good. These were good tosses. He's not completely shit. Like, he's a decent player. Second half is Chargers -3.5, total 20.5. What's stopping the Chargers from continuing to move besides them just putting the brakes on, I guess? They've looked really well.
Yeah, they get the ball first. Chargers get the ball first. And the Chargers have a 92-yard touchdown drive, a 55-yard touchdown drive, a 32-yard field goal drive, and a 75-yard touchdown drive. So they have had the ball 4 times, 4 drives, 4 scores. And they may be doing a little bit of, kind of making up for some poor performances earlier this season, getting right here and really just kind of throttling down. I guess, I don't know, Chargers team total over, or just take the over. You think this is anything close?
Chasing it? Well, that's the interesting part, because we didn't get to see Badgett in this game state last week. They were mostly front running. I was going to make the joke, like, when they looked like shit. Oh no, Badgett's a front runner. Like, he can't play it from him. Which that one drive, it did look good. So yeah, fuck it. I'll chase some more action.
Some more over. Okay, 3 touchdowns. Let's get it.
Which means maybe bet the under. I think we're like 0 for the last 5, guys.
Oh, dude, what?
Ice cold.
I still don't understand how we lost Thursday. That was unbelievable.
Oh God! It's not like they've all been horrible plays.
No, a bunch of them should have hit, but we're a little snake bitten right now.
My face ID on my phone does not love the fact that I look like a different guy, I guess. I get it, the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah, Gerald Jones, good call on that. Live bet the Giants Jets under today.
Yes, good work, buddy.
Somebody did comment on that, asking if we talked about that being 10-10. We didn't say 10-10, but there was I did find it. There was a minute of us talking about how that might end up just being a tie, and we were going to laugh by not betting the tie, which saved money, I guess, by not betting the tie prop. But that game deserved to be a tie. Yes, the Ravens, I got a good number on the Ravens. I got a -8.
Yeah. I'm not ready to talk about that. that hurt. That really, 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 really hurt. It was it was a weird day overall. I think yeah, I kind of I'm gonna have to rewatch a bunch of shit because I'm not sure what to really make of some of the stuff we saw. Niners Bengals probably top of the list. That's what's your first rewatch this week gonna be?
Yeah, Niners Bengals is up there just because I didn't watch a lot of that one anyway. I don't ever want to watch the Ravens game again. Thinking, goodness, I'm probably gonna rewatch Atlanta, Tennessee, just because I didn't watch a lot of that one, and I kind of want to get a feel for what they were trying to do with Heineke. I don't know if it's Heineke going forward. I just I caught Levis basically only on red zone, which all those throws look good. Which oh no shit, Hopkins is
he's still got it.
He's still got it. He's very good. I probably won't rewatch New England Miami. That one felt just like that's kind of how that was supposed to go.
Yeah.
No chance I'll watch the Giants game again. Pittsburgh Jacksonville, I kind of want to rewatch.
That was a bad game too. Pittsburgh's a bad team. Surprise. Okay. You want to just pivot right into the pod? I don't have anything else to say about this game. I'm really not into
it. Maybe. Yeah, I'm not seeing a 20, and I don't know where you grab this 20 and a half. I'm not seeing that anywhere either.
What do you got?
Like 22.
Oh, we're late to the party here, apparently.
I don't know that it even opened that low. Let me look. Let me see what.
Yeah, I got 22 and a half here. Well, it's good that we can spot a palp.
Yeah, I was gonna say, well, that's low.
It looks like, yeah, Chris was open to 22 and a half.
Chargers are at 24. Their team total's 13 and a half ish. Bears is 8.5. Total is going to be 22 and a half. And then, 3.5 is the line. Man, I don't want to bet any of those. Should we say uncle and let Canadian Capper have something? Let's just do this. Like, those are good numbers. I want the over to hit for my full game. I want DJ Moore and Keenan to get a bunch of catches because I have a little SGP on them. We're just going with Canadian Capper play.
Okay.
This week's halftime player prop, Cole Kmet, 16 more yards, -110.
He is, so for grading purposes, I have him at 4 for 32 so far. His longest reception is 13 yards, so he's going to need a couple.
So we need over 47 and a half. I'll see what I have. I know that the one last week I got a half point or whatever, what were they? Half attempt worse. So when it was sitting on 38, I think I was actually a full attempt worse. So I had to wait a little longer. I think I needed that late punt to get me home. Yeah, I don't hate this just because the only qualm I'd have with Chargers team total over is the fact that, like, if the Bears stop moving the ball at all, it might just be grinded out time. It might end up 3 scoring drives for the Chargers, 13 points.
Yeah, I like that.
Like the dart. See what the wife thinks of that.
No, this is this is tough. I guess I
could middle this total. I'm not interested in that.
So
so we do grab all our lines from FanDuel. FanDuel's 20 and a half -122.
Really?
The fact that there's a 21 in there, that's almost worth grabbing the juice and shooting for that 21-22 middle.
Yeah.
You're paying about I'd say it's 110 on the other side, 30 cents for 20-1. It's like it's not a 20-1 at that case. I can't do the math on the fly. My brain is fried today, especially after the Ravens game.
Yes, yeah. Too much acid in ether. All right.
Redaholics has a question. Does anyone know how the NFL decides how many home and away games a team plays in a season? It just alternates. The entire NFC will do it one year, and the entire AFC will do it the next year. Yeah. You get 9 and 8. And they'll do that until they move to 18 games, and then they'll be fine again.
And they can do that because the 17th game they added was a cross-conference game.
Yep.
So that's the game that alternates from conference to conference.
Pretty easy.
All right. You ready to go?
Yeah, I do feel bad for Kirk. I was hoping it was just a bad ankle sprain or something, but man, the way he hopped off the field, it didn't look pretty. Yeah, it did not look pretty at all.
No, he's done.
He is done. There
Awful.
is Sean Mannion on the practice squad, Jaron Hall obviously on the active roster, and then Nick Mullins is on IR, but I think he's actually eligible to come off now. Either way, it's not going to be good.
Okay. You ready to do the actual show? All right. Let's do it. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the deep dive. Week 8 mostly in the books. We are recording this as we are watching the second half of Sunday Night Football watching this. This is a rough one. Sunday overall, interesting. Just when we think that we know that a team is good, they go and they lose to the Broncos. Yes, there was influenced by some illness on the part of Pat Mahomes, but Chiefs looked pretty vulnerable today. The Niners were a mess. Feels like a million years ago that the Niners throttled the Cowboys. Ugly win for the Eagles. They continue to carry on. Miami gets it done and covers. They're good, I suppose. The NFC, though, has a problem, Andy. There are only 6 teams that are worthy of a playoff spot, and a 7th team is going to get in. And
yeah, we talked about this last week with Minnesota. Like Minnesota was kind of that, and even now, like Minnesota, I'm sure is in the playoffs if you looked at the playoff picture, because the other teams that were in that playoff picture was like Tampa, Atlanta. What was the LA score?
LA lost badly to
LA lost badly. I'm trying to think there was one other team in the mix. Washington they lost. Like basically every other team lost. Like Minnesota, Nick Mullins might start a playoff games, guys. That's kind of where we're at. Minnesota is kind of in a driver's seat to go make it. If
the playoffs started today, the Eagles would be the 1 seed, Seattle would be the 2 seed, Detroit would be the 3 seed, Atlanta still somehow at the top of the pile in the South, and then the Cowboys, Niners, and Vikings round out your wild card teams. Saints, I think, are ultimately going to win the NFC South. They looked like a real team today.
I was going to say Carolina and the Saints won. Obviously, Carolina too far behind, but with Tampa losing, the Atlanta was able to still remain in first place. I have a Saints ticket to win the South. I'd like to get that home.
I think that's going to be good. Big time quarterback indecision now in Atlanta as well. I'd like your opinion on that one.
What would you do?
I don't know. Was it really an injury or was it a benching because of effectiveness? I assumed it was a benching.
It was similar to the Watson thing. Obviously, that's muddied a lot because of the shoulder, but they apparently checked him for a concussion, cleared him, and then they left him out of the game. With Watson, there was the excuse of, well, his shoulder's fucked. He can't throw the ball. And we saw that. Whereas Ritter, they just decided, to stick with Heineke at that point. So I'm not sure. And you know what sucks? That Hodor-looking asshole is going to not tell us at the press conference. There's no chance Arthur Smith is like, yep, this is the plan. This is clearly what we're doing.
Somebody will get
Heineke or Ritter's the quarterback. Like, no one's going to know.
Somebody will get practice, a look at practice.
We're going to have to wait until we see who gets the ones at practice. Like, Art Smith is going to be a dick about this.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Well, let's go down through the order. And actually, let's start on Thursday. The Bills hold on for dear life. They probably should have lost that game. I think Godwin not turning around and catching that Hail Mary was bananas. The fact that it even got close was crazy. Just an all-time kind of gutless performance by Sean McDermott in the second half. Like they score that touchdown, and then they had every other drive was like 25 yards to midfield and then punt and try to, kind of bury the Bucks.
Did you see the chart? It was like their next 4 drives were all like identical.
Yes. Every one of them was like, sputtered at midfield, punt. Like it was the fact that they didn't have any more urgency late in that game made me pretty angry. I lost the over on that one, obviously. And I've been betting totals all right now.
Fucked there.
Oh man, that was rough. Yeah. The the Buffalo defense played better than I thought, I guess, a little bit. But they're haveable for sure. I think Josh Allen's shoulder injury worth keeping an eye on. They got 10 days, obviously, to prep for Sunday Night Football against the Bengals, but he
couldn't high five.
No, he was having issues at times. New Orleans, Indy. Today was a fun one. Bet the Saints. Saints won. This is a flipped favorite here. I think there was a time at which the Saints were dogs earlier this week. They closed 1.5. It was a little bit of Indy money
took them
that
at
showed
1.5 on last Sunday. This time last Sunday, we put some bets in at 1.5. I was unwilling to top off on -2 today. I didn't know. I thought it'd gone a little too far because Indy's offense had been moving. Moss was going. I thought they'd do. The Saints continue to be a weird team based on game state.
Yep.
And, they put up 17 second half points. They looked really good moving the ball a couple times. They didn't have that big turnover. Taysom Hill tried to. It was finally like the joke about, hey, Taysom Hill's in the game. Yeah, they're going to fucking run it. And then finally he unleashes one, and it's damn near a pick at that time. Yeah, you did a good call on that. You said that right off the bat. Last Sunday said this is probably the wrong team being a dog.
Yeah, I mean, the Gardner Minshew experience is so underwhelming. It's really quite bad. There was a time early in this game where it didn't feel like that things were going great. 17-7 at one point, Indianapolis, and their offense was working, and then it was bang, touchdown into halftime, and then the Saints just kind of put this one to bed. Saints might be, I don't know, they're probably going to be your 4 seed. They're probably going to be interesting matchup against Eagles, Cowboys, whoever loses the NFC East, I guess. Maybe Seattle gets there as the 5 seed, but Saints, I think if you're flummoxed by them, you gotta start paying attention because they're going to be in the mix in January, I think. I mean, the rest of the and everybody's weak. So, and the Saints. Here's the point I wanted to make. Sorry, I'm all over the place. The Saints.
Drugs.
Here are the quarterbacks coming up. You ready? Teabag next week. Whoever Minnesota plays, whoever Atlanta plays, Jared Goff, Bryce Young, presumably Daniel Jones, whoever the Rams are playing in Week 16. Baker Mayfield, maybe, if he's still got the job in Tampa in Week 17, and then whoever Atlanta's playing.
All these Saints, NFC South schedules look just like this. Like they're embarrassing.
This one's that's bad. Like the best quarterback you got to play from here in is Goff. They could theoretically finish 13-4. Like they could win in. I wouldn't be surprised. This is really, really bad stretch of quarterback.
I kind of hope they win like 12 games, so the market thinks a little too much of them because that is a bad stretch. I mean, if Daniel Jones, the weird injury, and we'll get to him a little more when we get to the Giants game, but the neck injury apparently is affecting the strength in his other arm. That sounds like a bad injury. Like I don't want that in my life. Yeah. So what if he's out for an extended period of time? The Tyrod one looked pretty bad too. Like, what's DeVito in there? Like that's it's already an all-time bad stretch of quarterbacks.
Yeah. Jacksonville, Pittsburgh. Speaking of bad quarterbacks, Pittsburgh's got one. Kenny Pickett was miserable today. Did he get hurt in that game? Did you have a note on that? Or was he just ineffective?
I thought he got dinged up.
I thought he got dinged up too. So yeah, there's a lot of Trubisky in this game. Pickett came out. Trubisky finished it. I didn't watch any of this one really. After I played an over and it was dead at halftime, so I just kind of tuned this one out. Etienne was, I guess, the kind of spark plug for putting this one away. 70 yards in the air, 80 on the ground. Makes all his props. Gets the only touchdown for the Jags. How did they only have that one touchdown? Did they score a defensive touchdown? I guess it was all field goals.
It was a lot of field goals and like long field goals too. All right, Dan says maybe if I cut the virtual background, my thing will stop glitching. We'll see.
Oh,
Now I'm just on a green screen. Oh, it did fix it. Yeah, that sucks.
Oh, sorry, man. Yeah, so Pickett maybe not playing.
Pickett is, and it's a short week too. We got Pickett heading into
so Trubisky for Thursday. Tennessee. Interesting. Yeah, I mean the Jags, they got an ugly win. They're an interesting team right now. Like how you rate them in the AFC is a fun mental exercise. Market saying that they're only 2 points better than an average team. Probably a little better than that. There is something in the ballpark of a 10% chance that the Jags get the 1 seed. There's something in the ballpark of a 40% chance that they're a top 3 seed, in my opinion. And coming off the bye, they get the Niners, which is going to be a great game. God, that's going to be fun. So yeah, good job, Jags, taking care of business.
Yeah, it was, as somebody's pointing out, it was ribs. I kept thinking it wasn't ribs. I'm like, no, you're thinking of Tyrod, but it was ribs. He got hit. Trubisky wasn't horrible at times. He had a couple nice drives, but it's still a backup, and that offense is still kind of underwhelming.
I'm surprised this one didn't hit 3. It looked like it wanted to go to 3 all week, and it never got there. And Jags, I mean, I think they were pretty clearly the right side.
Yeah. Pittsburgh just never had it offensively. And the fact that, man, it was like they needed to drug test the kickers. All these long field goals were going in. Just looking at this game, there was a bunch. There was a 50, 51. I think it was only a 37 and 38, the other two. But, man, a bunch of people had like 50-yard field goals today. Yeah, Jacksonville's good, not great, but if you win, good teams win games like this. You go on the road. Tough environment, conference game, you get it done.
Yeah.
And 6-2.
Nice job.
Have not lost an away game yet.
Interesting. That's weird.
Which one of them was in London, technically, but I mean that is away.
Good point. The next game on the list is Houston at Carolina. Good teams figure out ways to win that game, Houston, and you are not in that category, I suppose. Carolina was, I don't even really know what to say here. 3.7 yards per play today from this Carolina.
It was not a good game.
Awful. But they got it done because they avoided the turnover. The Houston Texans did not. They had 1. And ultimately, the 15-play, 86-yard drive that ended with the field goal for Carolina going up. That's the first time I've seen anything out of this Carolina offense all season and been like, okay, all right. I get what they're doing. I like what they're doing. Otherwise, felt like it was just pulling teeth every time these guys were trying to matriculate down the field. They had one red zone trip that ended in a downs at the 2. They had another one where they got just a real short field goal attempt. They had 4 red zone. So Alex, I'm kind of with you on this. I want to rewatch this one because there's all the hype around the change in play caller, but it looks like the same offense. It was a little more efficient. It wasn't exciting, but it was a little more efficient. They did get 4 red zone trips. I'm not so sure we've seen that out of them this year. Decent enough spot on the, I don't know. It's still, you scored 15 points at home. Like the offense needs to come a lot. I guess my main takeaway is like, if I'm looking at this from 10,000 feet, CJ Stroud is a loser. He lost the game. Bryce Young is a winner. I want a winner when I vote for offensive rookie of the year. I can't even do it out loud. I don't know.
Yeah, Carolina
CJ Stroud shouldn't be minus 175 or whatever he is. That seems wrong.
No, they're gonna have to figure out a little more on offense if they want to compete with better teams. It's that said, they still have a crazy soft schedule. They could end up with like 6-7 wins. Just there was some fucking by accident, man.
There was some serious big boy Houston money out there. Did you see that got to 3.5 at a couple short shops?
Yeah. People very much wanted to bet Houston here.
Yeah, Houston, and I like their offense just it's not that good yet. Like there's a lot of Damian Pierce running into a cloud of dust. Like maybe they'll get better with some offensive line continuity. Tough to say, but I don't think they're a factor for an AFC South. I think you can pretty much put a bow on the AFC South right now. Is that crazy?
Yeah, I mean they're 6-2. You got a 6-2 team. I think there's a lot of football left. Anything can happen, but 3-4 is not a good start.
Philadelphia, Washington. Washington is awfully feisty on offense when they play the Eagles. Boy, oh boy, they made it easy. Made getting to 31 look pretty easy against that Eagles defense. But the Eagles won ugly. They win by 7. It was a backdoor push, I think, right? The Commanders, Commies got the final touchdown in this game to push. Contest, we're at 6.5. So if you pick the Eagles, congratulations, you get a free win in a contest there. I was lucky. The Jalen Hurts injury is not being talked about, but it looks pretty real to me. What say you?
He looks he looks the same as we saw at the end of the game last time. We watched this team last week. Fucking knee just kind of looks tender. I don't know. It looks stiff at times. We use all these different words to describe it. Just it's hard to put words on. It just doesn't look right. Doesn't look comfortable.
Yep.
Still good enough to do what they did. He had 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he didn't scramble as much.
No, only four rush attempts for 6 yards. They basically took that all out of the playbook.
Yeah, this was one too where I don't think Washington had any business covering or even pushing this. Like if you go look at the box score, that said, like Howell had a good game. If apparently if Washington could play the Eagles 17 times a year, I don't know, they'd be like 3-14 with 500 points scored because they still give up too many.
Their defense was awful today. Yeah,
their defense was really bad.
Awful.
And now, kind
of
sidebar, but they're 3-5 now. Like Sweat or
Chase.
Chase is going to move.
Go get them. Somebody go get those guys and put them on Jacksonville, please. The passing touch, the passing efficiency was there for Hurts today, but it didn't really feel like a super fluid, amazing game. Numbers were good. He got sacked only twice. AJ Brown is probably a factor in Offensive Player of the Year, and it's not being talked about much. 2 of the best catches all day. Yeah,
and
he was incredible today.
He was very, very good. He should be.
Yep.
Tyreek is getting a lot of buzz, but AJ Brown is very, very, very good.
We had a Julio Jones sighting. He got a touchdown catch.
Yes, he was activated.
Yeah,
played. He caught a ball. Look at him.
Yep.
At his age.
Yep. Hurts fumbled on a tush push, right? First time.
Yeah, we had the fumble, and then we also had the counter play off it too, which is fun. I don't know, like if Sirianni is just, hey, it's finally time to bust out some of the variants on this, or he wanted to put that on tape to make people doubt that they're going to tush push every time, because that kind of changes the dynamic of it.
Jalen Carter went out during this game. Did you get anything on that?
I didn't get an update, but yeah, he went to, I think, locker room in the second or third quarter at that point.
Yeah, if he misses some time, that leaves the door wide open for Spoon to steal the D-Roy. Yeah.
It would have been great. This was kind of a nice opening for Will Anderson as well in that spot, but just didn't do a whole lot, not on the box score at least. He's one of those guys that you can tell he's good, but he's not showing up on the stats sheet as much as you'd like.
Yeah. Speaking of, Dallas beat the bejesus out of the Rams, and it felt like Micah Parsons was wrecking every single drop back for the Rams, and yet he only ended up with the 1 sack. It's kind of painful, the lack of counting stats for him when he is so clearly just a monster game wrecker when you're watching it live. The Stafford injury, I think, is worth following. It looked to me like it could be a 6-weeker type of deal.
I don't know if it was a torn. If you tear that ligament in your thumb as a quarterback in your throwing hand, I mean, call it. Yeah, I mean, it's mid-season. You're probably looking at an 8-week injury, and at that point, what's the point? At this point in your career, especially when you're sitting in third place in the division. Dallas ate their lunch. I just didn't. I kind of had that. I had that on my card. Like Dallas really really giving Stafford problems. I didn't see the Dallas offensive output looking like this. They were moving the ball nicely. And then obviously the game state went to shit right away with the pick six. Suddenly, the Rams are down multiple scores in the first quarter, and the game kind of went off the rails from there.
Yeah.
But kudos. It was a kind of a complete game from Dallas. This was one of the better games they've played since, against a decent opponent. This is not a bad opponent by any means. They have a bunch of good offensive weapons.
And Dallas, man, what a fucking front-running team. Holy shit. When things are going right, these guys just run downhill so fast. And, just flat-out bullying the Rams at times in this game. It was pretty impressive, I got to tell you. Dallas, I think, is an interesting bet this week, but we'll save that for the end of the show. What did you make of the New England-Miami game? I had a little New England in contest because they were very lightly picked and you were getting almost 10 points in division. It did not come through. I mean, Tua moves into MVP favorite largely just because.
Yeah, I was thinking about MVP a little.
He wasn't that great today.
No, he had a good day, but a lot of it is just like, oh, you're able to throw it that far, and Tyreek Hill is there. There was.
Congratulations, Tyreek Hill is on your team.
Yeah, he had some good plays, but it was another one where, hey, go into halftime with the lead here and you win. It's Miami at home. Miami in the second half. Nice warm day down there, and they did it. They did enough to cover. But if you look at this, I kind of want to look at the stats here. A lot of it was just, I don't know. Mac looked like shit at times.
Awful. He was awful. Yeah.
1 for 9 on third down. There it is.
Yikes.
That's what I was looking for.
Awful.
They put up some yards at times, but the third down conversion rate, they just couldn't get anything going on third down. And then he had the bad interception. I don't know. Like it was a steamed side. You were getting a lot of points for a divisional game, but at the same time, it wasn't something you're probably super excited about.
No, and the Patriots they were inside the number with like 8 minutes to go in the game, and then a 10-play, 75-yard touchdown drive for the Dolphins was the decider on 3rd and 1 to hit Waddle for a 31-yard touchdown. He could not have been more wide open. I don't really know what's going on with the Patriots defense, but pretty clearly they're missing some of their more effective pieces because that was a pretty embarrassing way to end your game. Patriots don't cover. Doesn't look like anything good's happening anytime soon with New England. Did you watch any of Jets Giants?
A little second half, just because it was starting to get interesting, and I wanted to see just how bad I guess the DeVito experience was. That was kind of as bad as expected. He was 2 for 7 for -1 yards passing. His ADOT was like 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He had as many sacks. He was sacked as many times as he had completions. At least he didn't throw an interception, I guess. That counts for something. The Tyrod one was bad. That looked bad. There's the guy grabbing maybe we're just so desensitized to a wide receiver grabbing his knee because it just happens every week that it doesn't faze me anymore. But man, there was something visceral about him, like doubled over on the sideline, grabbing his midsection. He looked like he was having a all-time bad time. He's spending the night in the hospital, apparently.
Yeah, it's weird because usually you just like give him a shot.
Yeah, just maybe pierce one of his organs.
Just pierce an organ.
He's had some bad luck. I feel bad because he wasn't playing that awful.
No, he was doing
over the past couple weeks. But the Giants are kind of in a bad spot here. This was a team that was super excited to maybe we can maybe we can make the playoffs and build off what we did last year, which is so far they've beat the Commanders in a very ugly game, and they beat the Cardinals in a game that they were down by 1.5 million.
Yeah, losing
this one was a rough. But I mean, at the same time, I was saying to myself as I watched the second half, I said, if the Jets lose, this is an all-time bad loss. Like I'm going to keep saying Danny DeVito. Tommy DeVito was in for an extended period of time. And I know Dexter Lawrence and some of, they have a good pass rush front.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you got to figure something out to get a couple points. And it's crazy that it was right at the end. And it's like Orlovsky said something about that where, like, he basically said that Wilson had a really good game, and that was, it's like, no,
he
man,
didn't.
he took some
No
bad
way.
sacks.
He
made
was
some
awful.
bad decisions. The fact that they, kind of were in that position to begin with, a lot of it was his fault. So
he got a QB.
It was good job at the end, and good job getting some yardage in overtime to get that field goal. But
he had a massive
I'm not sold on him.
negative EPA per play number today. No way. Jets won because they faced a team that had -9 passing yards. Andy. Tyrod Taylor completed 4. Tommy DeVito completed 2 passes. So they managed to have a receiving core with 6 receptions, but in total only got 7 yards. And then you add the lost yards,
16 yards of sacks.
Yeah, -9. I don't remember ever seeing anything like this. The New York receivers did not, as a group, break 10 yards. The Giants receivers. How is that possible?
Saquon had 36 carries. Should we fade his props next week? He's gonna be he's gonna be in the ice tub till Tuesday.
He was targeted 5 times, Andy. He caught 3 of those balls, 0 yards. Every one of them was so telegraphed, and like the Jets swarmed before you could even get to the line of scrimmage on a couple of them. It was awful, just an awful game. Jets he
was your receptions leader, though.
Yeah.
3. Everyone else just had the one.
The Jets, man. Yeah. How does this team have 4 wins?
Yeah, Waller hurt too. I didn't get follow up on Waller, but obviously that's not great.
No, that's bad. New York Giants. I mean, start over, guys. I don't know.
It's crazy how like the hopefulness that we had in New York / New Jersey with Aaron Rodgers and DJ signed on a spanking clean new deal, and Waller's in, and Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall are back, and boy, we might be down to Tommy DeVito and whatever we're doing here with Wilson at this point.
Atlanta, Tennessee is a tough one. I had some Atlanta, and
is that Tommy DeVito?
Is that Tommy DeVito? No,
I think it might be.
Oh, how about that? TDJ. All right. The weird kind of tough thing to explain about this Tennessee game, like no preseason, 1 week of ramp up, and Will Levis looked like he absolutely belongs. The Falcons defense is not like top 5, but they're definitely top half, and he shredded them. It just looked like the game was not going very fast. He was doing everything you want to do in terms of progression, and a lot of the stuff that frankly Desmond Ridder hasn't done this year. Like that's pretty notable considering that you used your top 8 pick on a running back and not on a quarterback. Will Levis could be in Atlanta. The general kind of news about the Titans not tearing it down and not shipping Henry or Hopkins, I guess you have to take them seriously as a team that could probably win 7 or 8 games this year, and it's going to be tough team to bet against. I was excited to see what Levis looks like on the road on in a short week, because this is a tough test against a formidable pass rush on Thursday Night Football. So, I'm cautiously optimistic about the Will Levis era after one start. I don't know. I don't think I've had anything else to add.
Patrick hit on my point. Like, he was sacked a couple times. I feel like he had at least 10 hits on him. Like, he was pressured a bunch. Atlanta front. I mean, this was supposed to be a mismatch just because it is the offensive line that we have for Tennessee, and it's not good. And you have a pass rush that's been decent to, good at times. They got pressure on him, but like that was my takeaway too. Same what you said, Patrick. He looked poised. He didn't have the happy feet. And then when there was somebody available downfield, mostly Hopkins, he made the throws. Like he just kind of fucking executed, man. He was good. And we didn't see him much in the preseason. It was a lot of Malik and Levis I think he played a little bit in the first, and that was it. He was hurt in that preseason game. But I had no idea what we were going to get.
If I'm the Titans and I do some self scouting, you know what? You know what plays I think you can leave on the cutting room floor? The Willis package.
Yeah,
Malik Willis was a legitimate minus in the handful of times he was out there.
I think it was only 2 or 3 plays, but they weren't. It's like Derrick Henry was okay. He was very, and honestly, Tyjae Spears is a good runner too. Like, if you want to run the ball, just run the ball with your 2 good running backs.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and yeah. Willis isn't the answer. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how that continues to build. There was some pretty sincere market sentiment in favor of the Titans all week this week that kept that one from hitting a 3, and all eventually got bet down to 2 into close. So the Tennessee pros were correct. Minnesota did not get bet this week, Andy. That closed as a pick 'em, and believe me when I tell you that Green Bay was not the correct side. That was a really, really, really weird market cycle for this game. I know you had some Vikings, and they were never really in doubt in this one. Kirk Cousins leaves with the Achilles, presumably. Where does this leave your franchise as you try to do this competitive rebuild, whatever the hell they are doing?
Yeah, I don't know what the vision is for Minnesota right now. Long term, short term, they're pretty dicked because they don't have any good quarterback options. Florio threw out like 9 different things today. I think he tweeted that they should call Tom Brady, and then also put up an article that they should consider Colt McCoy. But he grabbed the fucking wheel. Those are not the he's just throwing spaghetti at the cupboards, man. Just seeing if it sticks.
Well, the big question is do you make a move for Kyler Murray?
I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Honestly, it depends how you feel in that front office. Like, yes, you're in position. You're like in position to make the playoffs right now. But is that what your long-term goal is? Like, hey, we should leverage some future assets to get a quarterback to go get the shit kicked out of us by Philly in, the second round or something? Is that what we wanted? Is that how we kind of, it is a weird, because it's not a rebuild, but is that how we find success over the next few years? I don't know. Yeah, and I got it. I know there were some smart people in Green Bay, and a lot of it was just, hey, we can't buy Minnesota on a high, but I was not sold anymore. And I was a buyer of Green Bay. I liked all the pieces they have. Love just isn't quite it, man. I don't know if it's still too early to throw them out with the bathwater, but Love has looked bad. And I did want to give Flores credit. He made some good calls against the Niners.
Yeah, that was what I was.
He doesn't have the pieces.
He
doesn't have guys. He just, but he's doing it anyway.
They're playing well.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's scheme. Like, you can only do so much of scheme. You're not going to beat great teams. I think it really did take a concussion to turn Purdy into a bit of a pumpkin last week, because he was looking good otherwise before he got hit. Both of those picks were after the concussion.
So if the price is right, do you make a move for Kyler Murray if you're the Vikings?
I was never a Murray guy.
Okay.
Maybe I just wasn't a Cliff guy. Honestly, if what do you think the price is? What do they want? I don't know how that works with Kirk's contract, man.
Kirk's wasn't he? He's basically a free agent next year, right?
Yeah, he is. Just don't know how that works with paying them both this year. Contracts aren't real. Salary caps aren't real. That's what they say. I'm not a big salary cap aficionado. I don't know. If it works and it was like, I don't know, what would you ask if you were? I'd want next year's first.
I would either.
I want next year's first and third.
That sounds about right.
If I'm Atlanta,
that's
a lot, man. You're banking on him working out, but I think you do. You go talk to Justin Jefferson, and from a management standpoint, that's not great. Like, hey, I'm letting the employees run the thing.
Communicate with your most important player.
What if Jefferson was like all in on this, and he says, that's what I'm willing to, maybe take a little bit of a discount, get my deal worked out next year. If you bring in Kyler, then I think about it.
Okay.
Addison's certainly looking good, and Hawkinson is a very good tight end. You have some pieces.
Cleveland, Seattle was on drugs. Lost the team total. Secret power play on the Browns. They managed to get to 20 points somehow. And honestly, looking at their numbers, PJ Walker had his best day as a pro by all accounts. The Browns probably should have won this game. The Browns are gonna this one's gonna hurt because they're now 4-3. The Bengals are healthy and spooky good. All of a sudden, the Ravens are running away from you. I think this was going to end up being a pretty consequential loss for the Browns. And you got a really good performance out of PJ Walker outside of the 2 picks. The second pick, or the final pick, is the one that set up Seattle for the go-ahead score. Weird call to throw there on 3rd and 3 when you're running at like 5 yards a carry. I don't know. I mean, they did it against the Niners too, where they tried to put that game away with some calls at the end that were a little aggressive and didn't burn them there, but it burned them this time.
Was that late interception the one that hit Adams in the head?
Yes. Yeah. It was a dink. It was a doink. Yeah. You're at midfield almost, I think, and 3rd and 3.
It was a third down. Yeah. I mean, it's the game. That play, like,
the game's over. Yeah.
If you get that first down, you've won.
It's over.
So obviously worst case scenario, but it's hard to compartmentalize stats. We say like, oh, if he didn't throw that back-breaking interception that lost him the game, he was pretty good. But for the rest of the game on the road in front of a tough crowd against a good team, Walker was kind of decent. I don't know that what we've seen from Deshaun Watson's been that much better. Like I'm not rushing to get him back. I mean, that arm looks pretty dicked as it is anyway. I think that's what you're stuck with. But to your point, it's, they're in a tough spot too. They're only 4-3. You're behind 2 really good teams in your own division now. I mean, what's the Steelers record?
4-3.
Yeah, I think, so basically you're in the basement at 4-3. You're in a tough division. You're in a tough conference, and you need to eke these out if you want to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and I don't really know what to make of Seattle. I thought I understood what this team was, what their kind of, their DNA, their identity. I don't get them. I don't get them at all. And Seattle had 6.6 yards per play today. They were at times looked completely unstoppable against a very good defense. And then for other huge stretches of the game, they were just, nothing was cooking. Nothing was happening. Like they couldn't get out of their own way. This was one where if you got in early on Seattle, you are a winner. If you did not get in early, you get a push. I think
there's 2.5s early in the week, and those got gobbled up in a hurry. Yeah. Steam all week took this up to 4, which apparently was the right number. And I mean, it sucked too that because I saw some people take the +3, and like I don't hate grabbing the points here with a.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what to make of Seattle.
I was definitely off on the running backs for the Browns. They were healthy and very, very effective. Browns ended up with 155 yards rushing today. They were good on the ground. A little bit of everybody.
It's crazy how some of these teams are able to just throw in it was like Pierre Strong Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, Kareem Hunt was a guy they didn't want on their team. They got rid of him in the offseason. Says, we don't want you around. And obviously had to re-sign him with the injuries. Yeah, it stinks because this team has such a good defense. I think it has good coaching. And, that's why I know Pierre Strong. I remember him. Go Jackrabbits, guys.
Yeah.
But it has a lot of pieces. It just sucks. They spent so much money on a quarterback. They're not getting anything out of it. They had probably the best running back in the league. Not getting anything out of that now. They're still above 500 somehow. This team, I don't know what was if some sort of karmic transaction has bitten them in the ass somehow. But man,
what have they done that could possibly lead to that? I don't come out of this game feeling good at all about the Seahawks.
2 weeks in a row where it's like they dick the dog a little.
Yeah.
Same thing against Arizona. It's like you're outclassing this team with your offense.
Yeah.
Just stop doing stupid things. Stop calling stupid plays.
Yeah.
It's almost like use the good plays because you're gaining a lot of yardage. Your sequencing is just a little goofy, and you're turning it all. They turned the ball over at weird times against Arizona. They should have won that game by like 15, 20 points as well.
Yep. Big step up in competition for them next week, drawing the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
So we're going to learn something for sure about the Seahawks there. Worth noting before moving off of this game that Myles Garrett got a sack, so he continues to get counting stats. All right, the Broncos. How about them Broncos? Pretty much a wire-to-wire winner here. And there was news buzz yesterday that Pat had the flu.
Feeling good.
Did that impact his performance today, or is the Denver Broncos defense finally a bet on now that they are healthy?
It looked like a little of both. Obviously, getting all these pieces back makes your defense a lot tougher.
Yeah,
playing at home, but he didn't look himself at times. It was I kept vacillating back and forth where it's like, all right, there's a play. Like that's a Mahomes play. Like that's where he's at. He makes that play. But then a couple times, like the fumble on the sack, he did look a little weak. It's a little weak. I don't know. Like the flu sucks. So I think probably a little of both. No doubt that the Denver plus 7.5 was a good number and the right side, but for them to just not finish any drives, not score any touchdowns was really, really something. So yeah, hats off to the Denver defense.
Yeah.
This was another one too, where Russell Wilson kind of did the same thing I joked about and talked about last week. Like Russell Wilson and that offense do just enough to keep other teams in the game. Like if the Chiefs finish one or two of their drives, like this is a pain in the ass close game at the end. Like they were kind of bailed out by the defense a couple times because other than that late score they had to push this to 24, like I wasn't super comfortable. I was rooting for Denver to win this outright, and I was not really comfortable with the lead they had, and I felt like they should have had a lot more. Like this defense without Bolton is opening up a little.
Yeah,
they should have gotten more. So I'm impressed, but I still wish this offense could. I don't know. I still think a lot of it is play calling.
Russ had 12 completions today, Andy, for 114 yards.
Yeah, he got sacked a lot.
He got sacked 6 times. Pat Mahomes got sacked 3 times. You don't see that very often. 2 picks for Pat. Pat's picks number is starting to get a little high-ish for my liking in how much I have invested in him to win the MVP. I think this week coming up is obviously pretty important for the old MVP race. Pat is I think he's up to 8 picks on the season. Without looking, what's Pat Mahomes' all-time high number of interceptions in a season?
13, 14?
13. You nailed it. 2021, he threw 13. He was not the MVP that year. Yeah, he's getting close. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Major takeaway was the Broncos offense is still not good.
They are still not
good. The defense is going to keep them in games if healthy. If they remain healthy like this, just kind of a all around. I don't know who stood out. Something called Baron Browning. Browning got a couple sacks.
Browning had 2 sacks. It's just a team effort. Simmons had a pass defense. Surtain had a pass defense.
Benito got in there a bunch of times.
Yeah, I mean
yeah. I'm trying to think of like a standout. It was just everybody. So
it was just a team effort. Yeah. I like Josie Jewell showed up a couple times in impressive ways. I thought, just everybody's healthy. Like like the 70-point game they conceded had, there was no
This was
Browning,
better than
no
that.
Jewel. There was no Browning. There was no Jewel. There's no Justin Simmons in that game. Huge, missing pieces. Cincinnati, San Francisco is the top of my list for rewatching this week because I really am trying to understand what happened here. San Francisco's third straight loss. San Francisco does this. Plays like a little bit lousy, but what a way to flame out the month of Brocktober, Mr. Purdy.
Yeah.
Purdy
had nice plays, but at the same time, Debo probably matters. Williams definitely matters. It's tough, but I mean, the big takeaway wasn't Purdy making some mistakes. The big takeaway was
Joe Burrow completed everything.
The Bengals look good, man.
Yeah. Joe Burrow was 28 of 32, Andy. 4 incomplete passes today. Depth of target felt a little low, but it didn't matter because what they were doing was working really, really well. Purdy turnover-worthy plays are getting caught. That was pretty obvious that was eventually going to come at some point this season, and it is here. They are a good time for them to get a bye. They need to get their shit together bigly. They need to get healthy. And yeah, I think ultimately this is still a top 2 team in the NFC, but the Cowboys and the Eagles are going to make life tough for you because they're winning games. You're not.
Yeah, you got a revenge date with the Cowboys. I'm just thinking back to that Cowboys game, and the injuries obviously matter, but man, what a fall from that. It's been a while. That feels like forever ago.
It does. Niners were 4-4 heading into their bye last year, Andy. You remember that?
I do.
This is actually pretty typical of them to kind of fiddle fuck around in the middle of their schedule for some reason. At the end of the day, if they win Thanksgiving night against the Seahawks, they still win the West. They still get a top 2 seed, and they play a pretty bad 7 seed, as we kind of covered. Nobody wants that spot. It's going to be they're going to be 10-point favorites at home if they're the 2 seed. They're going to still have huge championship equity if they're the 1 seed.
Yeah, let's say Minnesota flames out because that seems like the most likely thing without a quarterback anymore. Let's say the Saints win it.
Yeah,
like your 7 seed is almost certainly going to be the Buccaneers or the Falcons.
Yeah.
Maybe the Commanders rip a few off. I'd have to look at their schedule, but like the Rams, if Stafford's hurt, that's doubtful. Obviously that's another doubtful. Yeah. So you're probably getting an also ran from the AFC or the NFC South.
Yep. Yeah. So basically, we're talking about 2 buys in the NFC this year.
Yeah.
All right.
2 seed gets one.
Cincinnati. Real thoughts on where they ought to be power ranked right now. Where you had them preseason before the Burrow injury, or somewhere in between there and what their numbers would say.
Chase is just as good as he ever was. Higgins is taking meaningful steps forward every year, it feels like. You have Boyd, Smith. I still don't love what you have at running back, but maybe it doesn't matter. If this is the passing game we're going to put out there. It was just crisp. Everything was crisp and easy. Jamar Chase is, usable anywhere on the field. Like we've seen where when he needed him short, when they needed him in crossing stuff, he can still go deep. Like he's a pain in the ass to game plan for.
Yep.
And it makes it a lot harder if Higgins is healthy and playing at that level too. So like it's they're moving up. It's just as high as I had him at the preseason.
Okay.
It was hard to power rate this team as they went forward.
Should they be in the top five rating right now in the NFL?
Yeah, it was difficult because you just didn't know where they were going to be, but they should be up there with at least with the Lions, man.
Yeah, probably higher than Lions.
I
don't think the Lions are a top 5.
They keep bouncing back and forth. They're in the weird spot where they keep going back and forth over the Cowboys.
I guess you don't put them ahead of the Chiefs right now? I don't think. I am fine putting them ahead of the Bills. Do you put them ahead of the Dolphins?
Let me see where I'm at right now.
There's two questions I got two important ones. Bengals ahead of the Dolphins, yes or no?
No, not yet.
Okay. Bengals ahead of the Ravens, yes or no?
It's close. No, I'd have it Baltimore, Miami, Cincy in that order.
Okay.
And but very close.
We're simpatico on that. That's exactly my number. And I have Buffalo behind all those teams right now with the way their defense is playing.
Yeah, Buffalo has to take another hit.
Okay. Interesting. Speaking of Baltimore, one of the most heinous end of games I can ever remember absorbing. I can't believe that happened.
Got a good price. What are you gonna do? You take some bad beats. Yeah, I'll cash. Remember the stupid lateral for the Patriots last year?
Yes.
There'll be another stupid play like that, and I'll cash on it.
Yes. That's a very, very fair way to put it.
You gotta take the good, you take the bad, you take it all, and there you have
the facts of
NFL. The
NFL. Did you watch any of this game? Dobbs kind of
squirrely, but
yeah,
they were using aggression as tanking.
Yeah,
they were just so bad on, not so bad, maybe just bad variance, bad luck on third downs, or fourth downs. They were just never converting a fourth down and not scoring on any of these, second half drives. And that's kind of what kept them from winning or even covering games. Like they had a few drives against Seattle and they all ended on turnover on downs. I think, man, it was a nice little fourth quarter by them. I didn't appreciate kicking the field goal. Like maybe they should. I mean, if you're going to beat me, just throw the touchdown. Don't pull this field goal that doesn't really matter because you're not getting a second. I don't know what the right play. Maybe analytically that was the right play. But fuck you, Gannon.
Okay. It was like a weirdly clunky game for the Ravens offense. They had a stinker, and they still almost covered a 10-point spread. So
they were on the drives that worked. They were very good.
Yeah,
like when they would get downfield, but they had a few drives that just weren't working.
Yeah,
and it was kind of a letdown road game in a
big old
team.
Big old Gus Bus game. Gus Edwards
he took all the touchdowns.
Okay. Let's touch briefly on Monday Night Football and then look at the next week's lines. Does that sound good?
Yes.
I played a little Raiders. I don't think the market has fully adjusted back to the fact that this is going to be a Jimmy G game. And also the Lions have a cluster injury on their hands at the offensive line. Frank Ragnow's not playing. Both guards are hurt. One of them's out, I think. One of them's questionable. I guess Ragnow's doubtful, not out, but I assume that means he's out.
I've assumed he was out.
Yeah, so not great for winning in the trenches on offense. I think you could find yourself in a little bit of heat with Max Crosby on the other side, and I think in general this is going to be a pretty competitive game. So stay inside 7.5, please. And I don't really care about the result one way or the other. I assume the Lions find a way to win.
Yeah. Obviously, a lot of people are going to like this in teaser legs where it's sitting. I'm pretty on market, but I think it's going to be a live betting game for me. Kind of exactly what you spoke about there, because I don't know. I've seen enough instances where I think I'm going to have a bad mismatch on the offensive line. And then you realize the quarterback's good enough where it doesn't matter. Which was weird that we had a first-time starter do it to us today with Levis. It's like, they're kind of getting beat a lot, but it doesn't matter because he's just stepping up and taking the hits and stepping up and making the throws anyway. If Goff is fine against the pass rush, I think that Raiders number might be in trouble. That said, it's still kind of a big number, man.
Yeah. For
a standalone game like this, for a team that hasn't – it's not like they've been putting up 30 points a game. This is This is for sure. I don't think you need a ton of points to get inside this number. And Jimmy G is a big step up. He's efficient as shit. He probably could have played last week. I don't blame him for sitting out and taking some time to get healthy. Hopefully he's fine.
Okay. Yeah, we agree. Good card next week. We get to see Will Levis in primetime against Mitch Trubisky, I suppose. We get an early game again. Early games are back in our lives with Miami taking on Kansas City at Frankfurt Stadium.
I will be in freaking California. The game starts at like 5 in the damn morning. Oh, shit. Yeah. You know what? Before we get into lines, commercial break.
6:30 a.m.
Commercial break. It is at 6:30 a.m. I won't be going because, Jesus Christ, you needed to. I think Suma tried to get into the lottery.
Yeah.
For these German games, and he was hoping it would be a couple 100,000 people, and it was like, oh, you're like spot 3,100,000 and whatever in the queue. It's like not good.
Oh,
but if he did get in, hopefully he used our friends at Ticketmaster. Oh, I have a new one today, thanks to AI. Elevate your live NFL experience where lasting memories are made, and change that up a lot. When it's time to secure your tickets, trust Ticketmaster, the official marketplace, the NFL. I have to take these off so I can read. They just bring you an array of choices for your perfect seat for your game day adventure. Their interactive seat map offers a 360-degree preview of your section, ensuring that you're right in the heart of the action. And if your plans change, Ticketmaster provides the flexibility to easily sell or transfer your tickets. Discover your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com. And then, of course, we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Want to integrate advanced data effortlessly into your betting routine? Rhythm is here to make it simple. Tell them what factors matter most to you in a game, and their data science team will do the rest. Your personalized model predicts scores, compares them to the market, and identifies where you have an edge. Check your model's analysis, score, predictions, picks, win probability, edge in the market all in one place. Rhythm is making data modeling a breeze for every bettor. You can check that out. The links to all the sponsors are in the show notes, in the podcast notes. And we're on, once commercials are done on Sunday, that means we're on to week 9.
Yeah.
And it's a goofy week. There are some goofy ones. Oh, Suma did get tickets. Yeah, I know. That lottery thing, it didn't look good. And yes, he is the face of the NFL in Germany. There's a couple of good German fans. Isn't Timo, yeah. Timo's German.
Yeah. And there's another guy too.
Oh, good job. Hey,
like NFL Elo guy. Sebastian, maybe? I can't remember.
Cole Kmet, good job,
nice
Canadian
cap. Okay, so pretty good test of what a neutral number ought to look like between Miami and Kansas City. This has come off of the look ahead 3 and is now 2.5. I think this is probably Chiefs or pass, and just going to study a little bit what exactly the Chiefs are doing in terms of travel. Although, Chiefs defense is a bit concerning. If they have cracks.
Second half, it's just a slog.
This has been a really, really, really bad game.
It's been a tough hang.
Yes. Minnesota, Atlanta probably gets to 6 or 7 once we know who the Minnesota quarterback is, I'm assuming, right? We don't know who the Atlanta quarterback is either.
Is it a real big move from Ritter to Heineke? I don't think I'm making any adjustment for that.
No, but the Minnesota adjustment down is real.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, Kirk Cousins, top 8 guy.
Yeah. And
I guess it doesn't matter if it's like Mannion or Mullins has started games. It's something. Yeah. It's not a lot, but it's something. You can bet the Falcons -4 right now. I have to think about that.
Okay. I like Baltimore against Seattle. My numbers make that more than 5.5. I like decent bounce back spot for Cleveland.
I'm kind of already invested in Minnesota too, Dan. I have the Falcons to miss the playoffs. So.
Oh,
I need the Sean Mannion revenge game, if that's a thing.
Interesting number in Green Bay too, because again, I suspect Stafford will miss. So that 2 probably goes to a bigger number. I mean, the Rams were power rated low last year without Stafford.
Second straight home game, coming off a bit of an ass whooping.
Yeah. Green Bay, can they beat anyone? That's kind of the question.
Yeah, have we hit the bottom?
I don't know.
Are we sure that? So let's say that game happens right now. Let's go LAR GB. I guess it's kind of a halfway number. I don't know. I would have made that a pick'em in Green Bay with Stafford in.
Yeah, that sounds right.
2, it probably moves to 4 if we're announcing whoever I guess we're deciding to start. Assume they just go with I don't know why I can't think of the guy's name right now. Brett Rippon.
Yeah.
I just had Wolford in my head still. Stafford to Brett Rippon is a decent spot. 4 points for Stafford to Brett Rippon. That doesn't sound too far off. So
no, that's probably right.
I don't know if you hear something on Stafford or if you have an inkling, you could probably get a good number. But the issue with that is you'd have to bet on Green Bay to do it.
Okay. Houston remains a favorite again. Houston's favored hosting Tampa Bay this time. New England is a favorite, Andy. Stop the presses. New England is a favorite. Okay. The Commanders are bad, I guess, but that's a surprise. We're going to get a number like 6 with New Orleans against Chicago. That's probably going to get bet to 7. Gardner Minshew on the road is a favorite. Excuse me.
Should we just keep doing this game, or you take Panthers +3?
I think so.
Weren't impressed with that offense.
No, but
the defense played well, and everybody was in. Luvu played, Burns played. I mean, those guys weren't missing at least.
The Indy defense is very beatable. Like it's a soft unit. Interesting.
Staying off those totals for now. Carolina moves so slow.
Do you have a neutral rating of Philadelphia being appreciably better than Dallas? Because I do not.
All right. So it's in. I'd make this like 3.5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're low on Dallas.
I haven't upgraded Dallas. I think they're going to get an upgrade. This defense looked better at times than we're at them. Obviously, that defense took some hits in my numbers. So if I upgrade Dallas a little bit on defense and maybe, finagle the number because Hurts isn't 100%, I'm probably a shade under this, maybe at 2.5.
Okay. I'm probably going to be on Dallas this week. I like them matchup wise here. If Philly's defense is havable, the way Dak played against them at the end of last season was pretty memorable. I think Dallas can play from ahead in this one, and I am worried about Jalen Hurts and his injury. I think now is probably the market top on Philly.
Yeah.
That's going to come. Their price is going to come down as they take some lumps there this next couple of weeks. They're going into their bye week after this game.
Yeah, no one coming off bye this week. Everyone was off. Cincinnati -2.
Yeah, this market's saying that Cincinnati is a hair better than Buffalo, which I'm there.
Yeah, I would say I need to do some moving in my numbers because I'm not terribly close, but Buffalo, a little extra time. I'm probably not betting that game. That's fine. Okay. That number's fine. Okay. 47.5. Highest total on the board is
Jets
in
back
Germany.
On prime time. What the fuck, man? Ugh. Sorry.
Are you going to be mad?
I don't want to watch the Jets. I don't want to watch the Chargers again. I don't want to watch
either. Aaron Rodgers, man. What are you going to do?
Oh,
Like
man.
when they made this, they're like, "Oh, we need to get this asshole on TV a bunch."
Ugh. Chargers too. God damn. That's a forgettable one. Yuck.
What are you do? What are you gonna do with your Ravens number? Looks a little sloppy, but still.
I'm fine. I'm fine having the Ravens meaningfully better than the Seattle is right now. Yeah. I guess I gotta rewatch the game, make sure nobody got hurt. That matters. But they should be able to push these guys around. This is a good matchup for them. God, it was like eighth turnover in a row in this game. Yuck. All right.
It's not been good.
I'm not downgrading. My thesis on Ravens is still that this team is gonna flex through the middle portion of the schedule here, and
I think the only injury
over a top rating
Baltimore was the Odell, and he did come back. He just got hospital balled. You know what are you gonna do?
Yeah. Yep.
Too old for that shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody pointed out in the chat, and I think I've seen this in the Discord. That Miami is leaving early for Germany. The Chiefs are leaving a little later. Yeah.
Defensive.
We did a couple of defensive guys get dinged up at certain points. I'll have to follow up on that one. My injury update isn't. I didn't do as much work today. I usually do a bunch of note taking and catch up injuries, but I was in a really bad mood after Baltimore. I just kind of sat there and pouted. Got Culver's instead. So sorry. I'll look at totals in the morning. I don't have my number. Like I just said, I didn't do a lot of work on this. We'll see how week 8 shakes out, but man, it's not like my totals were great this week.
Yeah, same.
Tough. Okay. A lot of numbers under 40 this week again. Falcons, Vikings, 37.5. Bucks, Texans, 38.5. Commanders, Pats under 40.
I don't have any WTA finals thoughts. I know that they've had a tough time getting that stadium constructed. That's all I got.
Tennessee, Pittsburgh. If you're in the Discord, I'm looking for a
profit exchange
prop for that one yet.
Prop of the game.
Yeah, we're gonna need one for that one. Do you got anything in that, Drew?
Yeah, let's see.
That one is totaled in the 36 as well.
Yeah, I think. Do you like the head-to-head stuff?
Those are more fun. I mean, we can do whatever we want. Just try to find something people would want to bet.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be something Levis-y.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I like the way.
I don't know, who would you go head-to-head with
Levis versus Levis longest completion versus points scored in the game is really fun. That's a really fun one.
I like that one.
Yeah,
I'm gonna submit that.
Yeah,
even though you wrote Levi's.
Okay. Well, let's call it. Good job. Good pod.
Yeah.
I hope your over makes it. What number did you get?
Like 46, man.
Oh, shit.
Not good. I need a touchdown on this.
The
drive.
Funny thing is, like all of these really terrible turnovers have been just taking points off the board.
I know it's been a very tough second half hang. We saw that one good drive, and they tricked me into not buying out of this. Like the Bears look good on one drive. They've gotten like 4th and 1 at the 30, like 3 straight drives. I think
downs, interception.
Yeah. It's been a tough hang. I deserved better, but I guess it's just another week. I've had a couple weeks like this, which is like, oh, it's going to be the week where I just take it in the teeth. I haven't had like that middling week. It was the first couple weeks, real good weeks. I had a good week a couple weeks back, and then I have a couple of these where you go like 2-8, man.
Awful.
Awful.
All right. Well, good luck. We'll chat tomorrow. Hopefully the Raiders aren't getting their tails kicked.
Him for the costume because he's clean shaven. I just couldn't do it. I don't know what I'd put. I'd put too much of a baby face.
No, well done, Mike. That's a cool shirt. You probably